Hello and welcome to the Centaura Knowledge Base. Today we're going to talk about OEE, what it is, why it is so important, and how Centaura can help you with it. So, without any further ado, let's go. Hi, I'm Tobias, Product and Marketing Manager and Media Producer here at Centaura. Let's get started on OEE. So, what is it? OEE, or Overall Equipment Effectiveness, is a way of measuring manufacturing productivity and is often described as the gold standard for productivity improvement. It is expressed most simply as a percentage showing how much of the time spent on production actually results in good products. So a factory that works with no interruptions, at fastest speed and does not produce faulty products has an OEE rating of 100%. Okay, nice, but how is it actually defined? Here's where we get to look at some formulas. Basically, OEE is calculated by multiplying the three OEE factors: availability, performance, and quality. Now, what do these factors mean? Let's have a closer look. First is availability. Availability takes into account all events that stop plant production long enough that it makes sense to track a reason for being down, which is typically anything longer than a few minutes. This is calculated as the ratio of actual runtime to plant production time. So if your shift plan says a machine should be running for 8 hours, but there is a downtime of 1 hour, the actual runtime is only 7 hours. That makes availability 7 divided by 8, which calculates as 87.5%. This also includes planned downtimes like changeovers, as these also affect availability. The second factor is performance. Performance takes into account anything that causes the manufacturing process to run at less than the maximum possible speed. And this can be hard to define. In a manufacturing environment, it is usually expressed as the ratio of net runtime to runtime, where net runtime is a theoretical value defined as ideal cycle time times total count, which sounds very confusing. So let's look at a simple example. If a machine in perfect condition can, under optimal circumstances, produce one item in 3 minutes, the net runtime for producing 100 items would be 300 minutes, or 5 hours. Now, if producing those 100 items actually took 6 hours, that would mean performance is 5 divided by 6, or roughly 83%. Now, the third of the three OEE factors is the simplest: quality. Quality is basically just the percentage of produced parts that are good versus bad. This takes into account manufactured parts that do not meet quality standards, including parts that need adjustment. So we're only looking at first pass yield, and that it defines good parts as parts that successfully pass through the manufacturing process the first time without needing any rework. Again, an example. This is really easy. If the production line creates 100 items and 95 of them pass inspection, the quality factor is obviously 95%. And now the magical OEE formula. It's really just multiplying availability, performance, and quality. That's it. As you can see, OEE is a relatively simple calculation based on complex variables. While counting good and bad products is rather trivial, correctly determining the performance of a production process is a lot more complicated, necessitating a lot of data from many different sources. In an ideal world, OEE would always be at 100%, as machines and workers churn along perfectly in harmony according to schedule. Sadly, in reality, this is never the case. There are always downtimes for maintenance, retooling, refilling consumables, etc. Then there are snags like slowdowns or minor stoppages. And last but not least, 100% quality is often a pipe dream. The first unit of a lot almost always has flaws due to old materials still being fed into the machine, and there is always the possibility of error. Knowing your OEE score and the value of its elements, availability, performance, and quality, makes it easier to take action against the underlying causes of lost productivity. Now that we know what OEE is, the theory of how it's calculated, and why it's important, let us look at how to handle it in practice. In the good old days, when dinosaurs ruled the earth, Before digitalization, all information on production, machine status, consumption, etc. had to be collected by hand, on paper. And remember, after all the tedious data collection, some poor chap somewhere still had to manually do all the calculations. The result, if OEE was calculated and reported at all, you would get reports on a monthly or, if you were lucky, on a weekly basis. Which isn't very helpful for process improvement, since the reports were often out of date. Especially if a production line had already been switched to a different recipe or any other changes had been made. Data on last week's performance was more than useless, except for documentary purposes. Today, there is the Zentara OEE calculator. It allows you to collect data from your entire shop floor automatically and receive OEE calculations in true real time. All the complicated reporting and number crunching that used to be done manually from stacks of paper forms now happens silently in the background. Your OEE factors and the resulting ratio are determined continually right on site without ever using any external services. The results are immediately available, allowing you to see any changes live as they happen. So OEE no longer is a weekly or monthly report, but a live impression that is always up to date. It can be read with the Zentara Inspector, it can be forwarded to other processes, or using visualization tools like, for example, Grafana, it can be displayed in graphical dashboards where you can watch any changes dynamically right as they happen. And due to its real-time nature and immaculate timing control, Zentara, unlike any cloud-based IoT platform, can even feed back any insights gained from your analysis right into the currently running process. That allows for smart production that constantly optimizes itself. But that's a topic that goes far beyond OEE. Finally, there's a caveat. What your OEE score does not provide is any insight as to the underlying causes of lost productivity. This is why availability, performance and quality should also be watched individually. Here's an interesting example. Look at the following OEE data for 2 sequential weeks. Hey, look, OEE is improving. Great job. Or is it? Dig a little deeper and the picture becomes less clear. Look at the individual factors. Most companies would not want to increase availability by 5% at the expense of decreasing quality by 4.5%. That's why it's important to always look at the 3 key values your OEE is based on. Still, it's a great long-term indicator for your production's efficiency. And with Zentara, it is always available and up to date. That concludes our look at OEE and OEE calculations. I hope it wasn't too boring. Thank you for your interest. Until next time.